Hey guys, it's Debbie. I'm here for a little live chat time. So I hope you guys will come in and join me, and I am going to get started because you can look at this video and check it out anytime. So I'm not going to wait around, but I have several things I wanted to talk about today. And if you have any questions or comments about anything I talk about, just put them down there and I will try and answer them. So here's where we're getting started. Facebook Pages got an update recently, and I have had it roll out to me, and I don't know if you've had it roll out to you yet, but I wanted to give you some thoughts and ideas about it and let you know what I'm thinking in terms of this new layout and how it looks and some of the things that you're going to need for it. So the first thing is I'm gonna pick up my phone and I'm gonna show you what my page looks like and how it's different, just in case you haven't seen it yet. So bear with me if this is kind of weird, but I'm gonna show you what this looks like, okay? So I'm gonna pick up my phone here off my little stand, and I'm gonna turn this around and show you what this looks like. So I'm looking from the side, so this is a little tough, but do you see how we have the title up here, and now my picture is over here where it used to be on top of your big picture, and then you have a whole column of information here down the side. Let me see if I can get in here right. So there's a whole column of information here down the side that used to go across the top here, and over here is a sign up button or some other sort of call to action button that Facebook gives us. And then you can scroll down into like your regular posts. So I hope that makes sense to you and you can see what this is showing you. But my big thing is this stuff over here is what I want to talk about. So what's coming up in this side that used to go across the top. So we used to have about 4 things. We had home, about, and then 3 different things that you could put in to show to direct people around your Facebook page. And then this stuff down here, down below, was hidden. Now it's not. And so this is really important. This little sidebar here is going to be super important for bloggers. The other important thing is this blue sign up bar used to be kind of a nondescript white bar here on top of our picture that we had. And so I left this little portion here up so you could see it, but it says now you can promote your sign up button and get more people to sign up. So I will X that out now that you've seen it, but here's what this all looks like. So this blue button is really giving us a little bit more to draw the eye in because they've made it a color. And as you can see, it really stands out on mine because I'm using a white background up here. If you were using a bunch of colors up here, this might not stand out as well, but that's a hint, for using this. So anyway, so we're really interested in this sidebar here, which I hope you can see, and then this call to action button here. So I'm going to turn back around so we can talk. Yes, Lene, a lot cleaner. It looks really nice. I actually like it. I think it's great. The big thing that's the difference is you've got to be prepared with that sidebar. So the sidebar that I showed you, you really want to be prepared with that. What I have in mine, and this is all managing your tabs on the side. And so under manage tabs, you are going to want to be putting some things in there, and we will continue to talk about how to do this and what you need and where to go to find this stuff in our group. But I definitely would recommend that you begin to build those side tabs in a really strategic way. I have at the beginning, I have home and then about, which I think are kind of pinned in there permanently, so you can't change the order of those. But my next thing down is advertising my free download for my email list. And so that is going to take them there, and it's going to allow people to see, ooh, there's something I could get right away. Yes, Jamie, this is being rolled out apparently. And I don't know why I got it. I have it on all my pages that I manage, and so somehow I got it, but it's really great that I did because this is what I talk about. So you will be seeing it, but you could begin right now to deal with all those tabs that you have at the top. If yours doesn't look like this, it's okay. You can begin to add the correct tabs. My second thing under my free download is Pinterest, my Pinterest feed, and then my Instagram feed. And those are two tabs that I added in, and I will share with you guys in the group where I got those, how to do that, all that stuff. I don't want to confuse you just with verbal language right now doing that. So that was really, those two things have been a good boon for me. And then there's videos, photos, likes, posts, that sort of thing. And I will probably move videos up for mine, as if you are one of the new live junkies like me, Lene, I know you like live. I'm going to move videos up closer to the top, and so that may I may switch those positions with Pinterest. But this is what people see immediately, and they're not going to go through that whole tab list if they're just kind of rushing around, but they will probably click on the first couple of ones. So I would definitely recommend working on your tabs. So this weekend, this coming week, because you don't know when you're going to get this. And so work on your tabs. The tab thing it's big. It's big for us, especially because we have such limited viewing now on our pages, especially business pages. We're getting, they did this other algorithm change, and they're going way more to family and friends posts and all that stuff. There's tons going on. What your job is not to worry about algorithms, but to have the best face out there that you can for your blog on your page. So you want it to look as professional and as nice and be as easy to maneuver around as possible. That is your job. That's all you can be responsible for, because we just can't deal with whatever Facebook is going to do. So you just got to be ready when people show up that bam, they're going to see exactly what they need to see. So tabs, woo-woo, it's going to be awesome. Okay, if you have questions about that, we can totally talk about it. I have a couple more things that I wanted to talk about today for this video. And one of those is Pinterest promises, or blog post promises. I was working on my newsletter this week and looking for something that wasn't just complete junk to share with everyone. There's so much junk out there about blogging, and so many promises are made about getting this many page views in this many days, or getting this many people to sign up for your list in this many hours. I mean, the promises go on and on. And one of the things I really would recommend you do so that you don't get discouraged is that you know how to read a blog post, not just create a blog post. When you read a blog post, one of the really important things is to read about the person who wrote the post. So there are people out there who are full-time bloggers, and this is their job, and that is awesome. It's great, and a lot of them have very good information that's very helpful to us. However, they are also making promises that they can't deliver because of certain things that are true, and those truths cannot be changed. Here's one of those truths. If you don't have any kids and if you aren't managing a household, and if you aren't working another job 40, 50, 60 hours a week, then yes, you can get a lot of people to read your blog in a very short amount of time, because you can devote hours and hours and hours in your day to getting them to get over to your site. But if you've got kids, if you're a homeschool mom, if you have a full-time job, if you have other things going on in your life that are taking a lot of your time and energy, then telling you that you are going to get so many viewers or so many signups or so much income in such a short amount of time is not true. And it's okay. You know what? It's totally fine. I love that people are successful with their blogs. I love that there's people out there that have just a dog at home and they get to work on their blog almost 24 hours a day. But I'm not one of those people. Therefore, I have to take all of those promises that I see on Pinterest with a grain of salt. And I can use the tips that they give me, and I can implement them in my own site or in my sharing or my social media or whatever, but the timeline is going to be different. It just is. So one of the things you want to look at is you want to scroll to the bottom of a blog post and you want to read about the author. And when you read, it'll tell you, oh, so-and-so runs such and such a site and they have all these clients and they help them build their wealth and they do all these things. And then at the bottom it says, and so-and-so lives in whatever town with her 2 dogs and her cat. Right there, I know you don't have kids. And you're not even married. So the time that you get to spend on your blog is going to be way different than the time I get to spend on my blog. Am I right? I'm totally right. I'll just answer my own question there. I'm right. So when you are reading blog posts, when you are seeing all these promises that seem a little crazy and far-fetched on Pinterest on all these great pins, then you can learn to read the blog post well. And you can learn to read it with a critical eye, knowing that that person, yes, Martha Brady, she has a virtual assistant or 2 or 4 or 5. That person is running their life and their business differently than you are, and that's going to make a difference. So I just want you not to be discouraged. Do not get discouraged when you get on Pinterest and you just see all this stuff that people are doing and you're like, how do they do it? How do they have all this time? Like, why do they have more hours in their day than I do? They don't. They just have a different life than you. So you need to stick to your game. Stick to your plan. Stay on mission and do your thing, because that's how you are going to achieve your success. And it's going to be different than that person's success. So don't get discouraged, because you totally rock and your voice totally matters. There's people who need to hear what you have to say. And it's just going to be a different way of getting there for you. So that's my 2 cents on that. It was kind of bugging me today, but hopefully that was a positive spin, because I could have given you a rant on that one. All right. My second thing I want to talk about today is, yes, Martha. Martha just made a good point in comments, and she said you only have your kids at this stage one time. So if they want to go outside and play, go with them. If they need you to put a Band-Aid on, turn around from your desk and put the Band-Aid on. If your family needs you to cook healthy meals for them and that requires some extra time for shopping, go do it, because it's only once. You don't get this again. Excellent point, Martha. Okay, so my next thing is I was going through my emails, and I had recently been through a blogging kind of conference that I went to online and signed up for a whole bunch of people's emails. And I was getting some of the things that they had designed specifically for that blog conference, and which were great. A lot of them were wonderful, and there was free classes, and there was like video series, and there was all this stuff. But that's been over now for a while, and I'm still getting a lot of emails. And so I was going through there and looking at the ones that I thought I should keep and deciding which ones I needed to unsubscribe from. I have some really strong feelings about what you should be doing with your time. And one of those is you should be spending your time working, not signing up for people's giveaways for their Rafflecopter, sweepstakes stuff. There's things that you need to be doing for your site, and you are a blogger, so you're different than someone who is totally not a blogger, doesn't have to worry about creating posts or sharing things or getting on Instagram or making sure Pinterest is working or any of that stuff. You're not that person. You are someone who has work to do and has to worry about that work getting done. And so if you are signed up for everything and anything under the sun, you are doing yourself a disservice. I truly believe that. So I believe that you need to limit your interactions that you have. There are some people that you're going to see online or read some blog posts and you'll really connect with them, sign up. Those are the people you want to sign up for. It doesn't matter if they're giving away something you want or not. If you're connecting with them in some way, if they are teaching you something, even for a short amount of time, sign up. Totally follow them. Make sure that that is a person whose emails you get regularly. But once you find that person in a certain field, so let's say you find somebody that you really like that teaches about Instagram, and they're giving you great advice and information, sign up for that information, but then don't go out and look for someone else who talks about Instagram just to be looking for someone else. You may find someone who has some good advice and maybe has in a specific area, will give you something really helpful that you can use, but that doesn't mean you have to sign up for all their emails. And it doesn't mean you have to read all their emails or do their video series or whatever it is that they have that they're hawking, their wares of some sort. That doesn't mean you have to do that. If you find someone for Pinterest, if you find someone who's got great blogging advice, if you find someone who's a great writer and you want to follow, they have great writing tips, that sort of thing. What I'm saying here is choose who you follow, be very intentional about it, and then limit your interactions, because your job is to spend time working, not signing up and reading other people's work, which is kind of weird because we want people to read our work, but you really have to set kind of some boundaries around how many people you're going to sign up for at one time, how many emails you're going to have coming into your inbox. Maybe you can follow someone on Feedly or Bloglovin instead and just check in periodically. But there is kind of a pressure when stuff is coming into your inbox that you feel like, I've got to read that or I'm going to come back to it. And you may even say, well, I'll come back on the weekend, and then the weekend happens and then the next week you have double the amount. It could be 2, it could be 10, depending on how often they send stuff out. And then be looking through the stuff that they're sending you, and if it begins to stray off track of why you signed up to follow them, then you should feel really confident that there's no problem unsubscribing. So maybe someone has something that they were talking about, like a series. Let's say they were talking about a series about Twitter. Let's just say that. And so you signed up because they had a really good Twitter checklist and they were talking about this, and they had a whole section, like they just spent a bunch of time talking about Twitter. Well, then all of a sudden they were done with that series and they started talking about something different, like maybe something totally different, like families, or they were talking about, house cleaning or something. Suddenly that's not why you signed up with them in the first place. It's okay to unsubscribe from that, because you don't, even if they're having a bunch of great giveaways and they're like, oh, you can win tickets to Disney World and all this stuff, it's okay just to let that go and continue with the work that you need to do. So really choose who you want to follow, be intentional about why you're following or subscribing to them, and then limit your interactions. You don't need to follow 15 people that talk about Twitter, and you don't need to follow, 8 people who talk about SEO. You just need a couple people, and it may be trial and error for you to get to those people, but you really want to make sure you're doing your job, which is to work and build your site, and then let them worry about getting people who aren't bloggers. So there's kind of a little bit different there. Along with that, I always recommend that people set up a separate email account for signups. So I use a totally different email account when I sign up for someone's newsletter, or their, like if they have like a course or something like that. I use a very different email address that is separate from my business email that I use for my blog, so that all of that stuff is together. Yes, Christine, it's called FOMO, fear of missing out, FOMO, and I guarantee you're not going to miss out. You just won't. There's so much information being pumped out every day. It's like a fire hose every single day, and you're not going to miss something. If someone helps you to make like $1,000 in a week, then you should definitely stay with them. But if they've promised something and you've given it a shot and then you're like, I'm not seeing the same results they were promising, you're not going to miss out. It's either not a good fit for you, or it's just not, you don't have the same, you're not on the same trajectory, that sort of thing. So don't be afraid. And that's where it's really taking ownership of your own success and your own like business, which is your blog is your business, whether you're making money from it or not. That is what you do. That is how you spend your energy. That's where you invest your time. And so it's really setting up boundaries for yourself and for your business and for the plan that you have set out for yourself. That includes your mission statement. That includes the people that you're trying to reach. That includes the time and energy that you're willing to invest and spend on what you're doing. So don't be afraid. It's totally fine. So back to email. I set up a separate email for when I sign up for things. So and all of that stuff goes in there so that I can really scroll through quickly and say, yes, this is helpful, or I'm in the middle of this person's like email series or something, and then this is done, so I can go, I can unsubscribe, and all of that's just separate, and I'm not worrying about any extra weird stuff being in my inbox that is gonna hinder me from getting my work done. So it's something I check maybe once a day or once every other day. I don't even sometimes go there every day. And I just know all of that stuff is together. So it's easy to set up a new Gmail account that you can just put all that stuff in. I have multiple email accounts that I use. I have one for my family. I have one for the work I do. I have one for all my different sites. I have one for email signups or newsletter signups. I have one for coupons. Yes, love my coupons. And so I can keep those things separate and I don't have to worry about it. So that's my big advice for the day. And that's all I really had to rant about today. I'm sure I could have found some other things, but that's what I have for today. So Facebook tabs, super important that you get on that, and we can talk about that in the group. How to get some of those other tabs on there and how to move things around. But as everybody gets the information and gets the switch over, then this is going to be a big deal. Pinterest promises, learn how to read a blog post. Start at the bottom and find out who the person is and use it and use that information to help you really filter as you read that post to whether this information, the promises that they're making are true, or if they are in just a totally different place from where you are, and you can just pick out the really helpful things and not worry about trying to grasp those promises as the end all be all. So learn how to read your blog posts and then choose who you want to follow. Be intentional. Don't be afraid to unsubscribe, but don't unsubscribe from me because I'm super awesome. Seriously, when people need to move on, it's totally fine with me. Like I serve a purpose and I want to serve a purpose. And if somebody doesn't want to stay and get the information, I have no problem with that. And then use a different email. So Anne-Marie asked in her comment, what is my system for naming my different email addresses? I used to try this and kind of failed. So I it doesn't matter. Like you can use your last name and then, like mine is Stongeland. If anyone wants to know how to say it, it's Stongeland. Stongeland coupons at gmail.com. That could be one. That's not what it is, but that could be one. Blog information. That could be one. Email signups at gmail.com. I don't know, but just make it so that you can understand it and it makes sense to you, however your brain works, and then separate those out. And here's the deal with this. It's like categories. Don't go crazy. Okay? You don't need an email address for every little single niche in your life. You don't. You just need them for big categories of things in your life. So you have one for your blog. You might have one for your family, especially if you've got kids and you've got soccer registrations coming up and, you know, church information that comes in, or a notification from your dry cleaner. I don't know, but that stuff all needs to be together. And then one for maybe coupons or deals that you sign up at stores, because I don't want any of that stuff in my email, and I don't ever want them to be a way that I get hacked either. That's part of why I do that, keep it separate. So if I sign up at Walmart or Safeway or JCPenney or Old Navy or whatever, that stuff is all in a separate email account, and they don't have any access to my regular stuff. And so if somebody hacks their system, which happens all the time, then I don't have to worry about that. I can just move on to some other email if I need to, but that's all separate. And then one just for signing up for blog stuff. Anything that I want to do there is separate. So that's how I do that. I hope that helps. And I hope you guys are having a good summer. My kids are at camp this week. Today's the last day, but I've had a great week. I've gotten stuff done. I've totally relaxed. I binged watched a show on Netflix this week. It was really, really good. So I hope you're having a good summer too. And keep working, keep moving forward, keep doing the things that you need to do for your own success. Don't worry about other people. Don't compare yourself to other people. And if you're one of those people who's sitting out there right now and you need to push publish, do it. Do it. Okay, Lene. It's The Last Kingdom. And it was a book series by Bernard Cornwell. And the Netflix series was excellently done. It's historical drama about the Danes and the Saxons, West Saxons, and it was really well done. So I recommend it, but it's not for kids. It's not a kid show. This is like a mom and dad show. So keep that in mind. But it's really good. You would probably like it. And then there's all these books that go with it. So I went and got some of the books from the library and the used bookstore. So now I'm really happy. Okay. Just a side note there. I hope you like that. And if anyone has questions about tabs or adding stuff in there for your Facebook page, let's talk about that in the group. And I hope you guys have an awesome day and a good weekend, and you relax and you have good weather and you barbecue. Barbecue something delicious like ribs. Yes. Okay, I'll see you guys later. Bye.